Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I am Rocky. This is Eric.
Victorian England had a huge influence on the fashions and styles that were happening in Highland dress in Scotland.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I am Rocky, and this is not Eric.
Yo.
This is Piper Alley. For those of you seeing us on Piper Alley's channel, she is co-hosting our show. I'm Rocky. I own USA Kilts. You've never seen me before. Doesn't matter. I'm immaterial. For those of you seeing this on our platforms, this is Piper Alley. She's a friend of ours, bagpipe extraordinaire,
Ow, I cracked my elbow.
TikTok stress or whatever. Oh, pop, snap, crackle, pop. Yes.
Piper Alley.
Indeed. Now, today, special treat. Not so special. It's a horrible treat. A special thing. A month ago or so, I guess it was the beginning of January, we were on the show. We were talking about burn suppers, and we're talking about haggis and things you do with burn suppers. And I swore in a segment that I would never eat vegan haggis because it's not real haggis, and who the hell would make vegan haggis a thing? They're making me eat vegan haggis.
Today we're having vegan haggis.
Yes. So I'm thrilled.
Rocky is super excited. I'm super excited. Eric is also very excited.
I'm totally excited.
Eric's
I'm down for this.
We're all pumped. I've never had haggis before, so ever. I stopped eating meat when I was 10, and that was pre-bagpipe days and pre-everything days. So
Right.
I wasn't even a human until I was 11. So, so this is I hope it's at least a little bit reminiscent because I've never had the haggis experience at all. So we're both trying vegan haggis for the first time, even though I'm the vegan.
Me too.
Yeah.
All three of us.
And we'll let you know how it compares to regular haggis.
They'll let you know.
To let you know. Well, yes, we'll let you know, and we'll let you know. And then we'll also kind of compare it to itself. How is the thing? So
Just as a general food item.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, do you want to do the honors of piping in the haggis?
It is the tradition, but as you mentioned, since this is not real haggis, I don't think we should do a real haggis ceremony, and I think maybe you can grace us with your musical talents as an alternative.
Yes, I've been known to play the tin whistle, much to my wife's chagrin. So, with my proficiency, I will play the most traditional haggis entrance song that I can remember, frankly, because I haven't played this for years, and I wasn't good then either. We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. Yes. That is my official
That's it?
haggis pipe. That's it. That's all I know, dude. Dude, I had to figure that out myself playing with the freaking holes in this thing. I didn't know what the hell we were doing.
But the haggis did arrive.
Yeah, I mean,
oh,
I go
it's
away
gone.
now.
I thought
Oh.
that was beautiful.
Madam?
Thank you so much.
Monsieur?
Oh, thank you, sir. And Mr. Mac?
Thank you so much to our waiter of the day.
Yes, indeed, quite.
Thank you, sir.
Well dressed.
Well
lady.
dressed,
Mm,
well dressed.
indeed,
But
quite.
he did not bring my ginger ale or my entrees or my appetizers.
You can't find good help.
He threw his hat.
For the
But
regiment.
All right.
here are the goods.
Now, I don't want to tilt it too much. It may slide off. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It looks.
It looks kind of sticky, so
No,
it's
it's-
not sliding off.
Yeah, no, that's haggis. It's like congealed with suet typically, or not suet. Is it lard? What is it congealed with? Lard? I don't know. Like fat.
You talking to me?
Yes, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
It's usually kidney fat,
Yeah.
if
So-
necessary. Depends
Yes.
on how fatty your meat is, but yeah.
So it looks congealed or like together. It shouldn't break apart too much.
Okay.
Haggis typically has oats. Do we know what is in this? We should have probably figured that out before we came on camera.
I have the ingredients here if you want to know.
Yes, pretty please.
Now this is not all of them, but I do know Mac has the complete list out there. But this is from Scottish Gourmet USA, who we usually get stuff from. So kudos to them as usual. This is a combination of carrots, mushrooms, oatmeal, red beans, and garbanzo beans.
I love all of those things.
Right?
So-
That's what I said.
And then there's going to be spices and their proprietary
Right,
stuff.
right. The things that make it not taste
I'm
like
going to
those
assume that the
things.
spices blend will be similar to what you'd have in a traditional haggis. So,
What do you think?
all right.
Smell-wise. All right,
Smells-
we going?
Oh, thank you, sir.
It smells not bad.
Hear that?
I am not looking forward to this. Not bad is about as best you're going to get out of me. I smell
I
a little
think
bit
it
of
smells really good.
a little bit of the spices, but I smell more like veggie-ish kind of thing.
I smell carrot.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
smell carrot and I smell... Oh, I lost it. Hold on.
I don't smell my food this often. This is
I do.
very
I smell.
awkward.
I smell the spices for sure, but I'm smelling the carrot.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm excited. When do we go? Did
Go
you
ahead.
go?
Yeah,
You
he's
doing
gone.
it?
No. I'm not already eating it.
Okay. It's got like the crunchiness of the oats of regular haggis.
Yep.
I taste a little bit of the spices. It's not nearly as spicy, not spicy like hot tamale, but a little bit of the spice of regular haggis. I taste, I don't know if, like back of my tongue, I get a little bit of heat types.
I'm
Like,
getting a kick.
yeah, a little kick.
I do
A
have
tiny,
I have the
tiny kick.
complete ingredient list here if you would like to hear it.
Sure.
What's the kick?
Well, Rocky, today we're trying Hamilton's Highland haggis. Traditional style, Scottish style, vegetarian haggis banger, 3% oatmeal. Ingredients include oatmeal, onions, water, mushrooms, red beans, garbanzo beans, carrot, vegetable shortening, salt, black pepper, and a gravy master consisting of caramelized corn, caramel color, water, hydrolyzed soy, and corn protein, apple cider vinegar, salt, spices.
I think it is just the black pepper.
That's the
Oh, no,
pepper.
it's
Yeah.
not spicy.
Yeah.
It's not spicy, but you just feel the little bit of the tickle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can definitely taste
It's definitely
the beans. It definitely tastes like a bean base for sure.
Tickle's a good word. I like that for what I'm getting.
Yeah, because I'm like definitely not a spicy girly, but this is
You're not a spice girl?
I'm not a spice girl. I'm not red spice.
She's bagpipe spice.
I'm bags spice.
The some people don't seem to be aware that we have already had real haggis,
Oh, yeah.
and trying to call us out for like not having real haggis.
No, this we
It's called
Eric and I have had,
hospitality, yo.
yeah, Eric and I have had haggis before. Allie is vegan, therefore she wouldn't want to try regular meat haggis, so we are
I don't think it
bending our morals and having vegetarian haggis.
I
because
appreciate
I
it.
wouldn't.
They wanted to include me in something that usually happens here on the show, but I haven't had meat at all in 17 years. So even if I wanted to, I don't think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
But I think this is pretty tasty. So texturally, this is how.
No, the crunchiness of the oats and little carrot bits. Yes. Real haggis is a little bit more fatty, so it leaves
Meaty,
kind of a
yeah.
little bit of a film in your mouth. You have, obviously, the meat taste a little bit gamey, a lot more spices, but and it's a little bit more. At least the ones that we've had are a little bit more congealed-ish. It's not like break a party.
Okay.
I make up words all the time. Again, the best you're going to get out of me is it's not bad. It's not. I wouldn't call this haggis, but it's not bad. So it's definitely like if this was like a side dish with something, like I could see this being served with chicken as a side dish. But it's not bad.
Like the flavor wise,
Yeah, flavor
it's not
profiles, yeah.
offensive. Like
No.
I know a lot of people worry about vegan meats specifically being kind of offensive or feeling really like unnatural, like for mock meats specifically. I could see this probably working well. Again, I've never had haggis, but I wonder if you could make some with like a haggis spice and those kind of like crunchy ingredients that you were talking about with some type of like good mock meat, like Beyond Meat or Impossible Meat.
Know where I could actually see this? I'm gonna get like this reminds me very much of like good Mexican food. I could see this being like in a burrito with sour cream.
I'd do a burrito.
Yeah,
Burritos.
I could see a burrito.
So the
on
haggis
this.
burrito, the haggis flavored
Oh yeah,
veggie
And
burrito.
Yeah.
Scots get
I
like,
like it.
creative with their haggis.
This would be. I mean, all the all the haggis purists here very kindly reminding us that you can't get true haggis unless you're in Scotland, and it's not really haggis if it's not made with sheep and all that kind of stuff. We're familiar with getting the haggis we can get here in the States, and actually.
And I'm familiar with haggis from Scotland.
Yeah,
I've
same.
eaten haggis when I've been over there, so I do know what real haggis tastes like, as well as Americanized haggis made by a Scottish guy in America. Sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No worries. No, his wife is running the operation more and more these days, but they're still going strong. So Scottish Gourmet people.
Yep. ScottishGourmetUSA.com.
And I appreciate them for. I don't know. It feels weird. I got to try at least some form of a haggis type thing ever. So
it's actually more common than we're giving it credit, because there are a lot of people now who are hosting burn suppers and other events where you have some vegetarians or vegans attending, and you want to do the right thing by them hospitality wise. So I do like this.
Thumbs up for inclusivity.
All right. Score it. 1 to 10.
Sorry, go ahead. 1 to 10 what?
We just have to score it as its own thing, because it's not fair, because then her score is going to be different than ours because she didn't have it. And then we have to compare American to Scottish to vegan haggis and play a shell game or something. So, as far as vegan haggis goes, not that we've had any other experiences with that,
like as a thing that you ate and you just have to give it a score.
As a food stuff.
As a food thing.
And I like it. I think it's actually rather delicious. I'd give it an 8.3.
Okay.
And I have, speaking as a former vegetarian about 20 years ago, so I've had similar kinds of dishes and stuff, and it's groovy. I like it.
It's groovy.
Totes.
Oh, me. Okay, so I'm a foodie. Even though I'm a vegan, I'm a foodie. I would say, from the perspective of just a food thing in general, definitely was tasty. I'd probably give it a 7.5.
So 7.5. Got
7.5.
Okay.
I'd say I've definitely had, like, for something that I think is trying to be mock meat, it's, for a healthy version, 10 out of 10, you know what I mean?
Fair.
But in terms of, like, mock meats, I've had some really good house-made mock meats as well.
Right.
I would definitely eat this again, though, for sure. Like, I did enjoy this.
Okay. Now, what do I give it? Shoot. I need my street cred, but I didn't mind it.
I wanted to hate it, but he didn't.
I know. I wanted to hate it so badly, but I didn't hate it. I'm going to score this as a side dish. I think that's the mindset I have to get in, so I can still have some street cred. As a side dish, I would say 6.4. Like, it's good. It's good. I would eat it as a side dish. I would eat it as a topping. I wouldn't make this a meal in and of itself. 6.4. That's it.
I think that's the answer for those of us who are not vegetarian, is that it's not haggis.
Yeah.
But it's got similar profile. It's definitely got the same splice blend.
Exactly.
Same genes.
Same
spice blend. I would definitely serve it as a side dish with something else, or as a topping for something. It's very tasty.
Yeah. It's missing the gaminess.
It's missing
I
the
could
meat,
do without.
Yeah.
I could do without. I would definitely. Are they local to here?
No, they're in
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, you had mentioned that. Yeah, I would get this for sure.
Where was he originally from? Was he from Glasgow, or do you
I
happen
don't
to know?
He just Scotland. I'm not sure where Andrew was from. His wife was from the States, but he was from Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely get this. Maybe I'll order in for Burns night.
Yeah. You do have invitations to go to Burns Night in Scotland, and a couple people are basically, I think, prepared to have us crash on their couches. So
Sweet. I snore a lot, though.
Yeah,
so.
they're gonna regret the invitation, but
Take it back. Take it back.
Very good. All right, boys and girls, if you are out there and you're on her channel, what we do here is we do a little try thing, and then we answer any questions that you have about kilts culture or bagpipe / music related questions today. If you have any questions for her, any questions for us, we are but your humble servants here to answer whatever questions you have. So load those in the comments. In the meantime, we have some people that have submitted questions before time, or a four. Yes, I'm trying to sound smart and I don't. So, Eric, if you would, do you have any of the preloaded questions ready to go?
Yeah. And just fair disclosure, I will try to keep up with the stream questions as best I can, but I'm not used to this job, so just bear with me.
Yes, usually Eric is my co-chair, and either Mac and Ian are over there. We kind of rotate around. We've been trying to have some special guests. Yes,
I've stolen the chair.
Well, you need to leave it. We can't afford another chair.
So I can't steal the fork. I can't steal the chair.
I know you do need to leave the building items intact.
That's hard.
I know.
The shop is nice. Got good stuff here.
Okay, boys and girls. YT Dave says, how has Allie overcome the stigma and belittling of being a bagpiper, and what can I do with and for my daughter to help her with learning the pipes? I think he means potentially as a woman who plays the pipes as well as a bagpiper in general.
That was going to be my question. Yeah. I mean, I can hit on both a little bit.
Sure.
Okay. So I'll start with being as a woman, because I think that's something that you can help her with. I was very fortunate when I started. I was able to learn from a woman in a youth band full of other young girls who were about my age learning bagpipes. And I also had my music outside of bagpiping as well. So really early on, I didn't see bagpipes and being a young girl playing them as anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't until I became an adult and started trying to join other bands that I realized nobody else looked like me. There were definitely times where I was the only girl competing, the only girl in the band, and also one of the younger people. So the best thing that you can do for your daughter is just continue to foster her love for the instrument, continue to just be kind of like a backboard that she can bounce off of and just be supported. I think inevitably she's going to face a little bit of pushback from society, which is just the way it is. But as long as you're always there to support the choices that she's making with the instrument and her love for it and just being there for her, that is really helpful. You can't, unfortunately, shield her from everything, but just as long as she knows that she can kind of talk to you about it and just be there to work through it, that's great. As a bagpiper, it's kind of a little bit different. The pushback and the stereotypes surrounding the instrument in general is actually kind of what jump-started my whole career now, is just feeling like there wasn't a lot of serious musical representation of the instrument and that the instrument wasn't being kind of like broadened. And so hopefully that's something, I mean, I'm talking a little, yeah, I could talk it's a big statement, but hopefully that's something that I can help with just by continuing to be a presence in the space. But I would also just encourage her to play them and change people's minds. The best thing that you can do, I got it a lot growing up too, is wow, this is the first time I've heard bagpipes and liked them, because they heard somebody who cared about the instrument, who cared about coming across in a positive way, playing them and enjoying it.
Playing them well. That may be why they didn't like bagpipes.
Thank you. But even when I was a beginner, you know, if I played to my level and I didn't play outside of my level and I was conscious of not making the instrument look bad, all of that does positive for the instrument. And she has the possibility now to do what I've been able to do as well, which is change people's minds and start to build another community that appreciates the instrument maybe for the first time.
Yeah, and to your credit, I think what you are doing, and people like you, or bands that include, you know, bagpipe in their music, even back to like AC/DC and that kind of, like, you know, and Bon Scott playing the bagpipes for a Long Way to the Top and things like that. Just incorporating it, kicking and screaming into the 20th century, into the 21st century, and doing different things with it, and kind of marrying it and playing with it in different ways, as well as traditionally. Mm-hmm. But, you know, having both of those worlds coexist breathes new life into it, you know, excuse the pun. But you know, and it gets younger kids involved, and they start looking at things differently than they have looked at it before. Like, oh, you can do that with it? Ooh, that's neat. Let me try something. You know, it opens up a whole world to someone who may not see it in that light.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, I could talk all day about the potential that she has as a young girl getting involved. I assume she's younger. You didn't mention ages, but that's totally an assumption on my part. But a woman or a young girl wanting to learn the instrument, you know, she has the ability to shape the future. I'm not putting that pressure on her for sure.
It's all on you.
It's all on you
Everything.
and your daughter. But even outside of all of this and social media and, you know, like being a career musician, just when I was growing up too, it really helped me as an individual knowing that my parents supported what I was doing. You know, they wouldn't crack the stupid jokes. And if I was bothered by things that people said at gigs or that people said at school, I knew that I could say those things to my parents and they'd be like, screw them. You know, honestly. And so I appreciated having that, and I felt like secure in that. And so it kind of put this little blanket around me that I worried less about things that people had to say. They just didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, one lesson I've kind of unfortunately had to instill in my son was, you know, some people are just assholes, period. Like, sometimes you're just going to get a jerk, and it doesn't matter. You know, you just got to deal with it. It's hopefully you have less jerks in your life, but sometimes people are just jerks. Some people are. It's just who they are. And just have as few of them as possible. Find more positive people. Find more people that you get along with and kind of navigate life that way. But
100%.
It's a lesson you have to learn at a young age to weather the storm of idiots.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, genuinely awesome that you're looking for extra ways that you can support her in her journey as well. I mean,
Yep.
Sometimes it's hard being a girl, especially a younger girl who plays the pipes, because it's just not what people are expecting. But again, it's super awesome that you're already looking for ways to support her as she's learning, and
Yep.
I love that. And I'm not a parent, but I can imagine from the parent perspective too, it's probably just, I don't know,
Yeah,
nice to hear that people are wanting to support their kids in a community that they're not necessarily
Yep.
already in.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 out of 10 for you, YouTube Dave.
Very good.
Rating comments. 10 out of 10.
We try not to rate our audience.
Sorry,
That
but
may
10
go
out of
poorly.
10. I'm going to do a 10 out of 10.
Hey,
for
that
him.
last question. I didn't like it so much. It's
6
like
out
a
of 10.
2. You kind of suck. Please don't ask any
2.
more questions.
Please
Yeah,
don't
it's-
come back.
Yeah, no.
No, YouTube Dave can come back. I liked your
We'll allow
question.
him.
I
Yeah,
liked it.
sure.
I'm not going to rate any questions further. Don't be offended.
Fair.
I can give you a break from questions to let you know you're getting a lot of love on here, Allie. We do have one person who's wondering, since you're touring, if you have any plans to tour in Canada. We have another person who has said they wanted to give you a big hug and a kiss on the forehead. So
I felt it.
you have a lot of fans.
I felt
Let-
it. That
here,
was
right
sweet.
here. Ready?
Okay.
And
Ah!
and more than one parent who is grateful that you're trying to inspire young people to learn. So
That I will cry, so thank you.
New goal for the show. Can we make Allie cry on camera?
You can.
so
Please
as a matter of housekeeping, then why don't you tell folks how they can get get in touch with you and tell them about your touring real quick.
Yeah, so I am going on tour. If you're not familiar, unfortunately for right now, I'm not hitting Canada. I'm going on tour with another musician, Mia Asano. She plays the electric violin, and if you know me at all, you've seen her probably littered on my social media because I'm one of her biggest fans as well. But yes, so Mia and I are going on tour, but Mia is Boston-based right now, and I'm New York-based, so we're trying to keep our debut tour kind of like drivable, honestly. So we're doing as far out as Chicago, across to New York, Philly, and kind of the states in between. The closest we're getting to Canada, I think, is Ann Arbor, Michigan. So I know we have some Canadian people coming down, but unfortunately we can't cross the border right yet. But this ideally will not be our last tour, and definitely will not be my last tour. I have a lot of other plans for the future. I'd love to get to Canada, love to get to Scotland again as well. I miss it. But yes, you can find all of the information for pretty much everything on my link tree. It's linktr.ee/piper.alley. It's linked on all of my bios on my social media, but that's where you can find my email. So if you ever have things that you just need to tell me, I do read my emails. I'm notoriously bad at responding to them. Looking at Rocky.
Yes, she is.
But I do read my emails, and I get back when I absolutely am able to. But yes, that's a place. And then in that link tree, you can also find tickets for tour and my social media and streaming music and things like that. So that's my shameless plug.
Yeah. If you're in New York on April 15th, which is the Tartan Day Parade in New York City, she's playing a few blocks from the end of the parade. We are putting together a group to actually march in the parade, the Kilts and Culture Group. So if you do want to march in the parade, just let us know. You can come hang out with us. And then after the parade's over, we're going to go see her and Mia perform. So yeah, that'd be an awesome weekend.
It's going to be super fun. I'm bummed. I can't march in parades because of my chronic illnesses, but it'll be nice to be in the area. I'm super excited about it. And then the concert is going to be banging. It's a Saturday night, April 15th, where it's the Shipping Up to Boston tour, even though we're playing in New York. And I'm very excited. That's my home state is New York, so I really want that to be a nice show. So hopefully I get to see some of you.
The Ides of April. No.
The Ides of April.
Like the Ides of March.
Yeah, the Ides of March.
Yeah.
And then we are coming to Philly, too.
Yep.
So if anybody's local to the USA Kilts area, we'll
Wait,
be
you're
there.
coming to Philly?
Yeah, I'm coming to Philly.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Nobody
Eric
told
is
me
not
that.
a true fan. That's what I've learned. No,
Eric
yeah.
is busy.
Allie is busy. Eric is busy. We have a lot of information that we're always pushing out. So it's totally fine. But yeah, I'm coming to Philly. April 18th is our Philly show.
After Boston show?
Yeah, we had to
Okay.
add it on after. It was supposed to. It was supposed to end in Boston, Shipping Up to Boston tour, but Philly wasn't available when we wanted, so we added Philly after. So that's our last show.
Shipping up to
Philly,
Philly.
oh.
Whoa. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Which,
We should not form a band with you and me as singers. Anyway.
We'll come back to that. I think we have some
Yeah.
potential.
Sure.
And I'm going to give you guys a question now, but a couple of shout outs. Richard saying happy to know you're also another Clan Donahue.
Oh, yeah. Donahue.
So, Donahue.
Donahue.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. I couldn't pronounce it forever.
And then a big shout out to a gentleman named Withold, who is Ukrainian, living in the Crimea, where they say their sons and them wear kilts and play bagpipes. We are the only family in Crimea who plays bagpipes and wears kilts. Thanks to your channels, we figured out both the fashion and the music. Thank you.
Well, good
Dude.
for you guys.
So, if
That's
you ever wondered if this is a global phenomenon,
Yeah.
sick.
Badass.
Gallic culture for
Dude,
the
that's-
world, right?
Hey, that's metal.
Headbanging.
And living in a war zone.
Ooh. Yeah, no, good for you.
Playing
For
bagpipes in the war zone.
So
That's
let me
metal.
give you a serious question here. This is for Allie. David Tilley asks, have you ever had a desire to play classical music? Could you see bagpipes fitting in with, say, Mozart's Requiem or a Beethoven symphony?
So, I am classically trained. My first instrument was actually piano, and I did piano, vocals, and bagpipes as part of my music degree. So I love me some classical music. And 10 out of 10 bagpipes and classical music can mesh. I think the furthest I've gotten doing that was I played Moonlight Sonata on Highland bagpipes, and that was over on TikTok. I haven't done a full version of it. I would love to, but maybe this comment will inspire me to get
off your butt.
kick the gears into motion. But yeah, they absolutely, I 100% think classical. Maybe I'll take a step back from my heavy metal face right now and do a little bit of Beethoven. That would be great. Yeah.
Beethoven is metal, for the record.
Beethoven is historical metal, and you can't change my mind. I'm just gonna headbang all day until I get whiplash. Yeah. Headbanging is my new finger guns. I think that's
Fair.
what it is. I mean, I've done it like 5 times.
Fair. I do this because I don't have any more hair. It's, yeah.
You can just give me a head bob.
Yeah.
Do you think classical music would vibe with bagpipes?
I could see it. What type? I'm trying to think of other types of music that could vibe with bagpipes. Like other types of world music.
Well, I've done some Middle Eastern, and I've done some like Latin jazz. That was on my album with the saxophone.
Okay.
Orchestral music can work. Shout out to Peter Maxwell Davies.
And as House of Pain has taught us, bagpipes can work with rap music.
Bagpipes can work with
Yes.
rap music.
Indeed. I would
yeah.
actually love to see more like weird fusions like that. Like
I
there
mean-
was a bit of like country hip hop crossover a couple years ago. I love the weird fusion. I love the rap metal mix that was happening in the 80s, like, you know, Anthrax and Public Enemy, then through, you know, the whole Judgment Night soundtrack. I'm throwing it to Eric because he may remember that kind of stuff. But yeah, I love like swirling things together that shouldn't go together musically. And I think it's part of what you are doing, but it's a fun thing to do. And that's how music kind of evolves and plays with, you know, different things.
I was gonna say I can relate. I love that so much. I've always loved fusion, just as a whole concept, like cultural fusion, musical fusion, art fusion. I think it helps to bring cultures and communities together. And I am a 10 out of 10 fan, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
of showcasing the bagpipes in maybe less conventional lights. But yeah, I guess you have to hit me up in my email then about your crazy ideas then about what music genres I should tap into.
The deep dark recesses of my mind.
Actually, never mind. Scratch that. Scratch that.
Yeah, I don't
never
want to keep
mind.
you up
Never
at night
mind.
scared.
No,
Like,
we're good.
Oh my god.
I take it back. Redact it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Redacted. Fully.
Redacted. You can blur it out in the live stream. You can't do that.
Just for your information, we have everybody's coming up with other suggestions. You know, like EBM. Or not, sorry, that EDM. EBM is my music.
Yeah.
EDM is the dance music.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then blues.
Ooh, blues.
You
I
know.
can see
20s
blues.
jazz. There's that one. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Middle Eastern music, and I totally agree. Persian classical music would work well with the pipes. I think it's important that we differentiate what kind of pipes, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Small pipes might be better for some of this
I would
stuff.
agree.
Yeah.
We
Taller
were on the
pipes.
same wavelength just there. Yeah, I've got my Highland bagpipe and my small pipe, both of which I can adjust the tuning on a little bit and give it more of a Middle Eastern feel to differentiate from the Western scales. But yeah, I love the idea of that. I also am dipping into. I don't usually post this stuff on social media because bagpipes have enough of a bad rap already. But I love. Like quarter tones and quarter tone scales, which is definitely not common in Western music. Again, I'm hesitant to put that on the internet because people already have their preconceptions about the bagpipes, and then if I bring in like quarter tones,
I'm watching your fingers quarter tones. I'm like, I have no idea. She's like well above my pay grade on this.
I'm just experimenting with it. If I can get it down, then I'll add that to the repertoire.
Yeah. You
Start
guys want
a
to stay
separate
on?
channel where you don't have your face on it.
I've thought
so
about
that way
it.
you just play it, and then you don't have to worry about anyone.
Paper bag.
Yeah,
No. Okay.
you don't do the horse mask thing from buckets, but you
Stealing
do
his
something
thing.
else. Yeah, you do. You do it like clown mask, creepy clown mask like Pennywise from It.
I can't.
Yeah.
I would.
You scare yourself, but that's part of it. That's fun.
Okay. Fine.
Skeeve people out with creepy clown mask. Yes.
So now you've ruined it. If you see an anonymous masked bagpiper on social media, it's me.
It's not her. We'll edit this out. It's fine. It's fine.
Scratch it. Redacted. Redacted from the record.
Exactly. We're redacting everything today. Just like black line through all of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
Are you sure you guys have had enough sugar? Because you're
Yeah. Oh.
I had a refresh.
2 energy drinks and a coffee. I have not drank scotch today.
The majority of the questions I'm getting are music related. Would you guys like to keep going with music, or do you want a different kind of question?
We'll mix it up. We'll
Let's-
do some
All right,
of
let
the
me mix
other
this up
ones as
then.
well,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is one I think both of you can play around with. Richard Whittington asked us, do you have any Highland wear-based unpopular opinions? For example, I don't like the angel share tartan, says Richard.
I'm kind of on the same wavelength with you, weirdly, on the angel share, by the way. What do you have? Any unpopular? I'll let you go first on this one because I don't want to color your answer necessarily. Unpopular Highland wear or bagpipe band wear uniform opinions.
Well,
You don't like the sporran?
no, I love the sporran. That's kind of my thing. I love the sporran,
Okay.
and I don't think some people out there think I should be wearing it.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm wearing a mini kilt. I love mini kilts. I like kilts and Highland wear as both functional. Like I wouldn't wear this to a Burns dinner.
Yeah. Or for a pipe band
Or
competition.
I would not wear this for a pipe band competition. I feel like they all have their different moments, but in terms of fashion, like I love mini kilts. I like them for performance as well. I think they're cute. But I also love sporrans, and I'm not gonna stop wearing it regardless of what kilt I'm wearing. I truly believe, I've said this before, that people trying to encourage women to steer away from sporrans and you shouldn't wear a sporran, you're a woman, is just another instance, and put me on record with this one, don't scratch us off the record, is another instance of women being denied pockets. And we love pockets.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. The whole pocket thing confuses the hell out of me. Like or lack of pocket thing.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I
I want to just add too, for my people who are not familiar, if you're coming in and you don't know what a sporran is, it is a pocket. It's a belt bag pouch.
Yeah.
It's a purse.
It's a fancy Scottish man purse, and this is where I have my glasses right now. and nothing else. But I usually have my phone in there, and I usually have some money in there and business cards, and then special things like little cute little gems and things that I can like carry around.
Gems?
Yeah,
Like magical. That's for your seances.
well, they're
Yep.
pretty, like pretty rocks. I
have
just
my
like
pocket-sized Ouija board in there.
like pretty rocks or like a tiny acorn.
What are you, my son? The kid, oh, my son collects rocks like it's his job and leaves them in the pockets of his pants, and then they go through the washer. Yes.
So you should get your son a sporran because you wouldn't throw that in the wash.
He has a sporran, but he. Yeah.
But yeah, that I guess is one of my unpopular opinions. Also, the fact that I'm very like fluid and unbothered with kilts in general, and I think it's okay to wear. And we had talked about this, and I think you think so too. But I don't think you have to be associated with a clan to wear that tartan. I think, again, if you're doing it a respectful way, I try to steer toward universal tartans if I'm doing them for fashion. But I mean, coming from the pipe band world, it's just what we did. My first ever kilt was the Lindsay tartan because that's just what the band wore.
Yeah.
All of my kilts in the beginning were all family-based tartans, and it's just because it was uniform. So I guess it's probably just ingrained that that's what's normal to me. But yeah, don't take away my sporran. If you try, I will bite you. What are your unpopular
Fair.
opinions, Rocky?
I won't bite you if you disagree with me, but I don't know how unpopular my unpopular opinions are, but I have a lot of opinions. The I'll kind of rattle them off. I am not a fan of cream hose. I have worn them in the past, when I started, but now the longer I've been wearing Highland wear, the more it kind of looks off to my eye. My brain has kind of evolved and my tastes have evolved in it. So I'd start with that. Buckle brogues. I hate buckle brogues. Don't care. # ban buckle brogues. So I draw a hard line there. I'd say wearing your kilt too low in a traditional type outfit it's more of a pet peeve because some guys' kilts just slip down because they have Neanderthal disease and their butt doesn't hold
It's
up.
chronic
their kilt.
illness.
Yes, I know. Trying to think of any other unpopular opinions I have on kilt-related stuff.
I've got to say,
The-
I agree on the cream hose. I
Yeah.
don't know why that like hit me, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. It was basically the Scottish rental hire industry in the 80s and bagpipe bands, freaking bagpipe bands.
How dare we?
With white hose, it became a thing, and
Yeah.
then the rental industry kind of promoted it, and then it just became, well, that's what you got with your rental outfit, so it just kind of was in all the photos now from your wedding or from this or from that, and it just kind of got bigger and bigger, and it's not traditional, using my air quotes.
Gotcha.
But I will say other unpopular opinions are, depending on which end of the spectrum. Are you looking at me from the far casual, do whatever you want to do, caricature type end of the spectrum, or from the traditional end, no, it all must be very, very the way it was in 1923 kind of end. But my other unpopular opinion would be you can wear a kilt casually. I wear a kilt, respectfully, but in my opinion, respectfully, but as casually as I wear it every day or as often as I wear it. Today I have on a pair of, cotton crew socks, pair of sneakers, polo shirt, and I feel 100% comfortable in this, and I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Not that I would necessarily care if people thought I was doing something wrong. So everyone can have their opinions on what is good, what is bad. I am kind of curious. Eric, do you have any unpopular opinions?
What?
Do you have any unpopular opinions of kilt-related
It's your hot
stuff?
take.
I'm in comment land here, so
Fair.
unpopular opinions.
Welcome back.
I don't know. I'm the one who experiments with the fashion all the time. So
Yeah.
my most unpopular opinion is to just do what you want to
Literally,
do.
yeah.
Have
do whatever
fun
you
with
want.
it.
Yeah.
It's the stick in the mud attitude that bothers me.
Yeah.
As much as I love traditional Highland dress and all that. Yeah.
I think there's a space.
I'll
There's a
say
space for all of it.
here's an unpopular opinion. I would say that unlike you, I think that a guy does not have to have a sporran on to complete the outfit. I think there are occasions where you don't have to have a sporran. Yep.
I need the center. Can't believe you just
Come
said
at me,
that.
bro.
Yeah, no. To me, a kilt doesn't look right without a sporran.
The tension in the room right now. I'm just kidding.
That's the
Fight is about to break out right now.
That cold air is not the AC.
No, I could feel the shift.
That was chills running through my soul. No, I lost my point now. I completely
sorry.
I biffed it.
That ended you.
Yeah, it ended me. Mentally done.
Well, I love a sporran. I mean, I just think ultimately my opinion is always just do what you want and
No, I thought
be
your opinion was always
respectful.
going to be about pockets.
And have a pocket available.
Yes. We all need pockets.
I hate purses.
That is a modern problem, 200, 300 years ago, women had pockets.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's
they had
messed
better
up.
pockets than the men in some cases.
It's messed up, but I don't like purses. They bother my shoulder. So I wish I could wear a sporran every day with every outfit.
See, here would be my problem if I don't carry a lot of stuff, but like it would hurt my back or my hips if I used to load a lot of stuff in my sporran, but I have arthritis, and I found like the heavier my shoes and the more stuff I put in the sporran, the worse my back hurt and my hips hurt.
That's totally fair. I can see. I mean, walking around like a mule anywhere, like I can see it, but definitely like this is even on its own.
Pig noise? I don't know mule noises. I don't do good mule noises. That's more of a pig.
I know.
Wee. That's my pig noise.
But I mean, even this is lighter than any purse that I own. Like on its own, just like with nothing in it. Obviously, I'm not gonna try to put my laptop in here, but like I'm thinking the bare minimum. Cell phone doesn't fit in a lot of my jeans pockets because women. And
did you just blame women for that?
no, because of
Sounded like you blame
womanhood.
Fair.
Women are not to blame. Women, divine. Because of the fashion industry, basically. But I think glasses, money, phone. If I could be able to walk around without a purse for that, like 24/7, then I would just be the happiest human being.
Fair. That's why I don't carry anything.
Yeah. Sporran.
Yep.
I'm the happiest when I have my sporran. I feel like I have everything on my person. And I also feel like my outfits aren't complete without it.
Yes.
I wouldn't judge somebody, though.
I will.
I know
will
Rocky
judge you,
will.
yes.
I will not judge you. Eric will not judge you. Rocky will judge you. You'll feel it. The air will shift.
I'm judging Eric right now. It's fine.
I can tell. I can feel it.
I'm used to it.
Used to it.
By the way, we do have Brad Wilson commented that he thinks a 3/4 of the usual size sporran would be great for women. So I will give a comment that we do sell. I'm sure other people do too, but we sell sporrans that are originally meant for kids, which you have a lot of women get to wear with mini kilts because it proportionally looks nice.
Yep.
So.
Are you saying I look bad? No.
No, I think it's fine.
I can.
Horrible.
But other people have different opinions about what their style is going to be.
I'm totally. When we had done our shoot last summer, you had given me a small black sporran. I think it was a kid's sporran, like a 3/4 size sporran. I love the way that looked with the sterling red, that outfit.
Yep.
Yeah, I love this one. This is my go-to sporran. You can tell I've had it for a really long time because it's
black
balding.
And the snap went off,
yeah, but it's one of my favorites. I had it for like 10 years. But yeah, I think it's kind of a normal size, but it doesn't feel too big. So. Yeah. But yeah, I totally am down for that. If there are women out there who are trying to get into kilt fashion but don't want to feel like
overpowers the outfit.
You want one,
Doesn't
you want the
matter.
pocket. Yeah, I would definitely confirm that would look rad. So, 10 out of 10. Rad.
Indeed.
Rad.
An old Gaelic term.
Radical to the
Rad.
That is Gaelic. Yeah, Scots Gaelic. Yeah.
Mike Perry is asking us a more nerdy question, and he definitely wants it answered because he's asked me 3 times now. What do you think, Allie, of 3D printed bagpipes? The set I currently own are 3D printed, and my band loves them when I use them during band practice. I can make you like a set in your own custom colors. I think he's saying he would make you
3D printed bagpipes.
I
There's the carbon fiber bagpipes.
If you want
I've seen
home-crafted
before.
3D printed pipes, I guess
Mike
talk to
Perry.
Mike Perry.
I'm not against. From my core, I think nothing will ever beat the vintage Blackwood bagpipe.
African Blackwood, yeah.
African Blackwood is they stand the test of time. My personal top bagpipe, they're from the 40s. I know people who have sets much older, but mine are my 1940s Robertsons and unmatched in sound. I play a synthetic bagpipe. Mine are Derlin, so I'm not against synthetic materials, I think you could probably achieve some really cool tone on a 3D printed bagpipe, but I would have more questions about the materials and stuff like that. I think you should shoot me an email because I'm genuinely curious about what is it, like resin that you're printing with, or is it like I know my axes, my emotional support axes, we use a bio blend. Like you can get wood infused resins as well, and so I'd be really curious what material you're 3D printing them out of. But I think 3D printing is a very cool tool. I would probably think that would be more of a show and fun and like maybe not like your go-to instrument for the top tone, but I could see that being a very cool thing, and I'm not against it. I just have more questions.
I have questions.
I have questions.
What do you think of the carbon fiber pipes?
Polypanko?
No, not polypanko.
Oh, okay.
Carbon fiber.
Okay.
I have a carbon fiber whistle.
Okay.
I like it. I don't like it as much as my tin whistles.
Okay.
I have not played carbon fiber bagpipes. It never beats wood. It never beats blackwood or like really or cocobolo.
Yeah.
Things like that, or like ebony. But I think that they are a good option. I think my favorite synthetic bagpipe that I've played is my tour bagpipe and my recording bagpipe, which is the Derlin from McClellan. But again, I think it just depends. Tone is so personal.
Yeah,
it's
the
so
wood has
personal.
like a warmer tone, I've been told, and the carbon fiber is a little higher, like tighter.
It is.
something.
I like a warm, mellow tone, and that's personal preference as a musician. So I think if you're looking for a really bright, boomy, brassy, shiny attack instrument, you could probably achieve that better with your reed setup in a synthetic instrument than you'd be able to in a wooden blackwood instrument. But it's also like cut me off at any point.
Okay, I have a random thought, but go ahead.
But like nerding out, I mean, you can achieve such different tone and such a wide variety of tone with your reeds alone in the same instrument made out of the same material that I personally think bag material, drone material is almost secondary to your reeds. I think the reeds is where it's really important, and everything has to marry together to make a really solid tone. I spent months when I was highly competitive and really in the thick of it, months working with different reeds, different chanters with my bagpipes, sorting out different pieces within my drones, trying to find the perfect combination every time. And so again, it depends on what you're going for sure. But I mean, circling back with the question, I'm definitely not against the concept of a 3D printed bagpipe within the right reasons. I'm thinking about, like, you know, how did they get to African blackwood as the wood? Like, it evolved. Yeah. You may know the answer, but my point is, like, the woods or the parts of the instrument or the material that the instrument's made out of has evolved over time to become that instrument. So it's you may, you know, in playing with polypanko, or in playing with carbon fiber, or playing with other stuff, you may be in some weird way kind of creating a new instrument or a new subset of an instrument. But when we're talking about the carbon fiber pipes and being a bright brassy sound, I immediately went to, like, okay, would bagpipes of that type work with, like, trumpets and trombones in a ska band? I don't know about brassy in that sense, but
spectacular. I don't know.
It could be fun.
I kind of want to make this happen now.
So I guess that's what we're doing after the live show.
Yes,
it's an after party.
We're gonna find the ska song that we want Allie to play with on bagpipes.
And then Mike's gonna have to come through 3D printed drum.
Now, you know that because we've said this on the show.
Yeah.
We actually need it to happen. Like, I call Adam out, or I call Allie, I call other people out to, hey, make this thing happen. So now you're gonna have to.
You have to send me the links though, or I can't.
Okay.
If you go into, like, ska jazz, my favorite band, Melbourne Ska Orchestra, they do some tracks that pipes would work with.
You're gonna have to send me the tracks.
Yeah, man.
Oh. I will do it if I don't have to do the research myself.
Absolutely. Okay.
But yeah, that's 10 out of 10. That's a cool question, Mike.
Very good.
Hey, Rocky.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Allie. Brandon Cromer says the following: I've heard people get offended when Americans try to track their heritage. I believe I have tracked mine back to the Ogilvies on their grandmother's side, and I wanted to reach out. Is that going to be offensive or rude?
I have never heard of people saying that they get annoyed when people try to track their heritage. I will say that people will get annoyed when, or people could get annoyed, if you're, since we're talking about Scotland, the Ogilvies, for instance, if you're saying like, oh, you're saying that I'm Scottish,
Yeah.
versus, oh, I have Scottish ancestors, that kind of thing. They make those differentiations. In America, we've often said, in America, we use I'm Scottish, I'm German, I'm Irish as shorthand for I am of Irish heritage, I am of Scottish lineage, or those kind of fuller sentences. But what we actually mean when we're talking to somebody about their background, their personal family heritage, their history, is where were your ancestors from? Mm-hmm. But that is not typically done and said the same way over there. So they can get annoyed with that. It's like a personal bugaboo. Like, no, you're not Scottish. You're American.
You're literally from New York.
Yeah, you're not Scottish at all.
Yeah.
Like and I'm not going to fake a Scottish accent to do that. But that's where it kind of comes from. It's the misunderstanding of a common language. I honestly feel a lot of it comes from, them thinking one thing and thinking they know what we mean, and us meaning an entirely different thing, and not meaning to be offensive, but them taking it a different way. I heard a quote yesterday. I can't be responsible for how you interpret what I say. I can only be responsible for what I say. Mm-hmm. So if I say something that you take as offensive and I didn't mean it like that, I'm not trying to tick you off, Mr. Scottish Johnny Pants 85. I'm just trying to express something. And if there's a miscommunication, or you say you're not Scottish, like, then let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I remember like flashbacks to school in elementary school when teachers would have us go to our family and research. You're like, where is great grandma from? Where's grandma from? And never the intention was to be that you're not American. It was to be like, where were the people who lived like 100 years ago? Where did your direct family members live? Or 200 years ago? And kind of knowing more about your history, because in some other countries, our country is very young. Mm-hmm. Super, super young. So it's never meant, and I'm speaking personally, to come across like, when I tell people I'm not Scottish, it's because I'm genetically not Scottish at all. You know what I mean? But people will ask, like, what is it then? I'm like, oh, I'm Irish. I have Irish ancestry. And, like, there's DNA in here that traces back to Ireland. And part of that culture was infused with how I was raised. And that's more so where it comes from. I am way more German DNA-wise than I am Irish, but I feel like a lot of it is also culture. And the culture you were raised with. I was adopted into Scottish culture. That's, we can get all that, but you can watch my interview with USA Kilts and we get into all of that. But but yeah, so I adopted into the culture. I think it's super awesome that you want to trace your family back and learn more about where you come from. Just as a general thing, that's super cool. And I don't think anybody who understands what you're actually doing would be offended by it.
Yeah.
That's just my personal. And if they are, it's your literal life and existence and where you come from. I don't think you should let a couple naysayers, stand in the way of like discovering that about where you come from. Yeah.
And I would also, you touched on a point, you just, had a memory pop into my brain. You had to do, family research, for a school project. I just remembered I had to do something very similar to that. I think it was either early college or late high school. I had to do the same kind of thing. And now that I'm thinking about it, like critically, right now in this moment, I think more schools should make kids do that. It's one of those things where you don't start thinking about your family lineage and your heritage, and generally speaking, you don't start thinking about that stuff until a little bit later in life. Maybe, I started in my late 20s really thinking about it. But a lot of people don't start thinking about it until they're 30s, 40s, when their parents, frankly and morbidly speaking, when their parents die.
Yeah.
And then they go, shit, I should have talked to my mom about that. I wish I knew who that connection was because it wasn't written down. And who was the one that came over? Where did they live in the UK? And you lose that. And if you don't have those discussions, if you don't have that written down and documented, it could go away forever. Now, with genetics, with Ancestry.com, with tools at our disposal, some of uncovering that stuff is becoming a little bit easier. But I think getting kids involved in those things earlier, mandatorily speaking, through a school project or something, could spark that interest in some younger kids and getting them excited about their family heritage, and then maybe talking to grandpa about like, oh yeah, we came from Scotland, and actually our family has a tartan, and here it is, and getting them interested in those kind of things. Or we came over from Ireland, and during the potato famine, and learning these little nuggets of the trials and tribulations of your own family, of your own story, can sort of spark that in people, and that helps push the whole thing forward. Because once you miss a gap year or a gap generation or two of no interest, it tends to kind of go away.
1000%. I mean, if anybody is unaware, it was the conversation I had with my grandma after my stepdad legally adopted me through the legal system. It was the conversation where she said, okay, you're a Duncan now. This is the family tartan. This is the crest. That was the conversation that got me interested in the bagpipes. So if anybody doubts the impact, it's my career. So,
yep.
I mean, yeah. And I think those conversations are great. And the ones that I had in school, I had to interview my grandparents. And now my grandfather's not with us anymore. And I would not have interviewed my grandfather as an 11-year-old if it wasn't for a school project. And so, like, those are core memories that I have now, getting to learn about where my grandma's parents were from, who she never talks about, or who my grandfather's like where they were from. And it's very cool. It's not everybody's from here.
Yeah.
And just a few generations back, none of us were. So we didn't just spawn in America.
I'm also a very big proponent of recording it. No, we have a lot of cameras sitting around here right now. So obviously I'm a big proponent of recording it. But recording conversations, recording stories, recording, like, literally, here's something random that you need to do if your parents are older or if your grandparents are older. Trust me, do it. Sit down and write a list of questions that you want to ask them and record the interview. Put the camera on them, not on you, or sit down next to them and record the conversation. My wife had an uncle, her grandfather's brother, Uncle Eddie, and he was at Iwo Jima. He was with Patton at Iwo Jima. This man had stories, and he actually not Iwo Jima. No. D-Day.
Oh, no.
He served in the 5th, whatever.
The 5th Battalion.
Fifth Army?
With Patton.
That would have been going up through Sicily, I believe.
No, then not Patton.
Italy.
Damn it! What am I thinking? I'm ruining
This
this
is
whole
why
bit.
it's recorded.
Yes, this is why it's recorded. It's her
her.
uncle, not mine. But he was in World War II. He was a Marine. I remember her talking about Patton, 5th Armored Division. Maybe that's what it was. Anyway, I can watch it because it's recorded. But the point is, she sat down with them and a bunch of her sisters and recorded the conversation. And he brought out all of his memorabilia from his military days. He brought out his medals. He talked about all these things that they have on record. And his own daughter, who we're very close with as well, his own daughter said, like, wow, he's never opened up about this stuff. He never told us these stories. It was always like, yep, I was in World War II. It was a hard time. I don't want to talk about it. But he died a couple years ago, and he was buried down at Arlington Cemetery. And it was, now they have that stuff, and they have his stories from their family that they would not otherwise have. So go out, talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, and record those things. Find out about those stories. And if you are the parent and your kid doesn't care, you know what? Record yourself. Sit down, record all of it, and then just give it to them and say, here, I'm going to put it on a drive. Go look at this in a few years when you want to learn about your family history. But
Yeah.
preserve it. That is the point.
And to the commenter, circling back, I feel like empowered to like do research. I already have done it, but I want to do it again. But to the commenter, yeah, I mean, reach out. Reach out to your distant family members, distant relatives, and that's special. Having that is special. Yeah. I agree. I wish I had recorded as an 11-year-old. My grandpa.
I'll say one comment from here from Mies regarding the person who was concerned about offending the Ogilvies. I would say that if you find an Ogilvy who is also interested in genealogy, they're not going to be offended.
Yeah.
They're going to be if you find someone through a genealogy circle, through that hobby, through that activity, they're going to be as pleased to talk to you as you are to them.
Yeah.
Or if you find someone from like the Ogilvy Clan Society, if there is one.
Absolutely.
They always want to talk about
the
it.
clan
Absolutely.
societies love that in my experience.
And they need all the support they can get, frankly.
Yeah. And that's why they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So good luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What do we have next
On the
from
menu?
the interwebs?
A lot. Still a lot of love. Still a lot of desire for Allie to perform
Come
everywhere.
see my tour.
You're gonna have to do more than one tour.
Stream
Pretty
my
much you.
album in the meantime.
I think it's a great idea.
You can also I'm coming
give them
out
a
with
quick reminder about the link tree, please.
Yeah, linktr.ee/piper.alley. And there's a new link on there. You can pre-save mine and Mia's cover of Shipping Up to Boston, which we just are announcing after this is over. So you get to be the first to know. We haven't announced it yet.
Hot tip.
Hot tip,
Edition.
you're here.
We got
Congratulations.
News. Yes.
Yeah, so
The
I have
scoop.
plenty of streamable music for the lovely human beings out there who are just too far away from me right now. I'll get to
now.
you, I promise.
Yes. We need an Allie clone machine
Please don't.
and put you everywhere.
Yeah, no.
There's enough of me.
I wish there was two of me. Oh, good God, I wish there was. All right. What do we have next?
I got a lot here. I'm going to go with the question we had from Travis Tyndall, who asked, what inspired you, besides playing the bagpipes, to wear kilts, kilted skirts, and when did you begin? And from Danny Anhalt, similar question, if it wasn't family connections, what got you into Highland culture? So I guess we're looking for a backstory. We
Yeah.
kind of already talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, I could just fill in a couple gaps.
Yeah.
Because mine is easy, because it really is. I mean, it was the family connection and also getting into the pipe band community that was that for me. But I stopped wearing kilts when I left pipe band because I wasn't competing, and I was like, why would I wear a kilt if I'm not competing? And I've recently kind of like gotten back to it because I'm playing the bagpipes. I want to respect the roots that the Highland bagpipe specifically comes from. The Scottish bagpipes, both I play are Scottish. And it's a way for me to still connect with the roots of the instrument. And honestly, I've started wearing kilts a little bit more since I've started working with you guys and chatting with you guys and kind of like listening to your live shows and the Kilts and Culture shows and videos. I mean, it's nice being able to learn a little bit more about all of it, and kilts are pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
So that kind of reignited my want to wear them in a more
Nice.
my fashion way.
I am humbled. Thank you. The to think that we have any effect always is humbling. So I appreciate that. The for me it was and I'm going to use a word, and you could probably use the same word if you wanted to. It started with a spark, which became an obsession. See, I'll be in your head.
Am I the obsessive type?
Yeah, well, anyone who
Yes.
does anyone who does things like we do to the extent that we do it is almost by definition obsessed.
You are correct.
Yes.
That is accurate.
Yes. When I in my mid-20s, I was kind of like, I want to wear a kilt. I'll save you the big, long, boring backstory, but I was like, I want to wear a kilt. And then I decided, okay, now that I'm wearing a kilt, I need to know more about it. And then just kind of became obsessed with looking for videos about it, learning everything I could about it, joining forums back when forums were a real force on the interwebs, and just like literally jumped head, feet, and body first into the water of all of this stuff. And really the company was kind of born out of that obsession and wanting to just tinker with it and figure out how to make it go and what goes together and why and how and all that kind of thing. And the content that we put out is born of that same passion and not having that information when I first started. It's one of those things where I was like, when I first started, I was like, I wish there was videos about this kind of stuff, or where do I go to learn it? Where do I go to know what I'm doing is right or not right? I mean, if you're Scottish, born in Scotland, it's part of the background. Tartan is always there. It may not be in the foreground, you may not wear it every day, but it's a general kind of understanding of it as part of the culture, and you're brought up within it, and you have people to kind of guide you. Over here in America, not being of Scottish lineage myself, I had to figure it all out on my own, and it took a long time and a lot of thought, effort, research, and all that kind of stuff to make sure that I was doing things correctly, air quotes, and I wanted to help other people who were in that boat where they're just like, well, I don't know where to start. How do you know what to do? And it's like, well, I've already figured some of the stuff out. Here, let me just show you. Let me teach you. Let me talk about it. And that's kind of our first YouTube videos were literally me answering customer emails saying, I get the question about how to tie my ghillie brogues a lot. I'm just going to do a YouTube video, and then I'll just send people the link so they can actually see it happening, and I'll explain it while I'm doing it. And then, maybe I should do other common questions. And then it's just kind of snowballed from there. So, old YouTube videos were that, and then we just started doing the show where we just talk about whatever questions people have.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
it's just the burning desire to help and get the knowledge out there and pass on the knowledge and pass on the stories now through interviews and stuff we're doing. I don't even know what the hell the original question was, but that's what we're doing.
Well, I mean, would you dare to say, Rocky, no idea where I've heard this quote before, would you consider yourself a student of the culture?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do not know everything. Eric doesn't know everything. I'm assuming you don't know everything.
I know everything, actually.
I know. But yes, we are always learning. The minute the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know, or the more you.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's one of those things. So I am still learning every day. I'm still exploring things. I'm starting to dive into, and I'm like weirdly, I've never been like a big history buff, but I'm starting to like dive into more the period of like early 1800s and the evolution of tartan and the Sobieski Stuarts and Sir Walter Scott and King George IV and things like that. I'm starting to nerd out on some old-timey stuff and watch how things evolved over time and what the common threads are from back then that we constantly pull through to today. So yes.
Threads pull through.
Yeah,
Ha,
see
ha.
what I did there?
The
I'm
puns.
sorry.
We are littered with puns.
We are very punny here.
I'm here for it.
Exactly. But yes, you always need to be learning. You always need to be challenging your own perceptions and the things you think are correct, and you constantly need to evolve in it. And the way I would view it is I'm just, if somebody's just starting out, I'm just further down the road. I'm still on the road. I'm never going to get
Helping
there.
them along the way.
Exactly. But I'm like, hey guys, I'm just kind of blazing a little bit of a path there, and I'm still hacking down weeds in the brush, making my own road.
We're on the journey together.
Exactly.
Yeah, I dig it. I actually hadn't learned Rocky's story about how he got into kilts, so I'm like,
oh, it's a much longer, weirder, yes, but yeah.
Very cool though.
Indeed.
Neat. Just thought they were interesting, and then decided to literally learn everything possible that you could absorb.
Yes.
I relate. I relate.
Slightly obsessive personality.
That's okay. It's fine. I can't relate to that at all.
Exactly. All right.
Okay.
What else do we have
I
out
gotta
there?
catch my breath here a little bit. I wouldn't call myself a student of the culture, but more of an addict. But Vespasianus 69. I'm guessing has an interest in Latin or Greek stuff.
Or Vespas.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, Oi!
What kind of mod are you? Not recognizing Vespa.
I'm
in the
also a
name of
history
God?
nerd. I get confused all
Fair,
the time.
fair. You know what a Vespa is?
Spirit of '69. Yeah.
The scooter.
Okay.
I was gonna say the scooter thing.
Yeah.
Yep,
British
yep.
scooter thing. It's like a wussy motorcycle for mods.
Hey. Watch it.
Yes.
Vespa's is here.
I know. Vespa. I enjoy a Vespa as well.
Anyhow, they were asking, do young ladies find it easier to wear kilted skirts, kilts, and mini kilts routinely? They're betting that it's probably easier in some ways for women to get into tartan clothing than for the lads. I wanted to parlay that with another question we had asked, which was, I lost it. Joe Groves asking where you find your cool outfit parts. So, number one, do you think what is the easiest way for a young woman to get involved in Highland dress? What do you think is the safest bets for them? And what kind of reception should they expect? And how do you like to concoct an outfit?
Yeah, I would like to know also, like, from the business side of things, like, for customer wise, because I think probably the majority of kilt consumers are men, because that is for sure like what I see is the majority of people I see. If you Google the image of kilt, you're gonna see a lot of men, because it's just traditionally kind of like where it stems from, and I get a lot of flack sometimes from people saying that I shouldn't be wearing the types of kilts that I'm wearing. Like,
how dare you, madam?
I know, literally, like, how dare I? I think for women who are trying to get involved into tartan wear, there are a lot of options. There are, like, traditional ladies options. You can do shawls and arisades. I really like the arisade. If you look on USA Kilt's website, I modeled it. But yeah, and then there are also the mini kilts. There are kilted skirts. They don't feel like skirts, though. They definitely have a different feel. The kilt style garment has a different feel than, like, a skirt that I would wear that I get from any store or anything like that. So I feel like they're still differentiated. You've got the buckles, you've got the pleats. They're definitely a little bit more sturdy, even if it's a mini kilt. But yeah, they're definitely, it's different. But you can start out probably, if you want to just get involved in tartan wear, maybe find your family tartan or a tartan that you like, a universal, whatever. You do scarves. I mean, there are a lot of options for sure. But if you want to wear kilts, just do it. I feel like that goes back to kind of our controversial or unpopular opinions of, I personally think that you should just do whatever you want. Some people prefer the knee-length kilt because it's not so modest that it's going down to, like, the floor or going down to your mid-calf, and it's not giving you that, like, too classical look. But some people and women are not comfortable with the mini kilts. So sometimes that knee-length skirt or knee-length kilt is their comfort zone. And so I'd say if that's the case, then just wear the kilt that's for men, because it's, like, it's great. I have tons of them. I love them. But yeah, I think the commenter had mentioned, like, maybe it's easier for women to get into kilts because of skirts, but I don't think that's true. And I think that you probably can confirm.
Sure. It's yes, the majority of a reasonable majority of our customers are men, although we are getting more, the more women stuff we kind of play around with in the shawls and the stoles and the wraps and things, we're getting a little bit more of that. But in Highland wear, you know, men are more the peacocks, and it's not typical in many other things where, you know, it's a man's in a black tuxedo, and, you know, it's just basically the cuddle of the lapel or something that differentiates from one to the other. So yes, in Highland wear it is kind of flipped on its head a little bit. But if you're a woman getting into it, you can wear, you know, a like you were pointing out, you know, a mini kilt, the kilted skirt. You can wear a man's kilt. I would also put a little bit of a twist on it in that you could wear a kilted skirt, which is typically like mid-calf kind of level, but just have it made a little bit shorter. Yeah. If you want something a little bit lighter and you don't want as much weight in the back and the swing of the pleats, then a kilted skirt's understood.
It feels fun. I don't know. I loved it. Like, watching it's pipe band. I know I totally, like, cut this off, but it's so special. Like, the feeling of walking with a heavy pleated kilt, and walking around, like, especially with a group of people, just like you're all like doing it together. I love the feeling of the pleats moving.
Do they have to move in unison?
When you're marching, they do.
That'd be sweet.
Like if you're marching into the circle, like I would watch videos of our competitions and stuff like that, and then I would just see us, and all the pleats are just like.
They make the noise too. Meow, meow. They're small cats.
They do make
that
noise.
Follow behind them.
Yeah.
Like
And you can't hear it
unison.
over the pipes and drums.
That's what's in the bag. See the bagpipe joke. The cat's in the bag.
No,
no.
not
We don't
the
insult the
cat
bagpipes. I'm not allowed.
joke.
Yeah.
Rocky.
Okay,
Kidding.
back on topic.
Yeah.
Please.
The no, but I would say this. Your other point about if you're a little nervous for whatever reason about you maybe don't want to wear a skirt or a kilted skirt or a mini kilt, or you're afraid to wear a man's kilt, you could wear a shawl, you could wear a stole. There's all kinds of different things. My other point would be you just have to start.
Yeah.
Period. You're never going to be perfectly GQ model or Mademoiselle, I don't know, insert women's magazine here, front cover model the first time you do anything. You always screw up something the first time you do it, but you'll never get to where you want to go unless you start doing something.
Yeah.
And fashion within women's wear, within Highland wear, within tartan is a lot more fluid, a lot more forgiving for women's stuff than it is for men. There's a lot more faux pas and tradition and convention around men's wear than there is women's wear. So it's, to some degree, it's easier and more forgivable to make those, horrible mistakes.
How dare you wear
I know.
sporran?
Oh, I would never. Don't talk to the hand. But it's no, it's you're fine.
You're fine.
Try, look. If anything, look at a couple different outfits. Like think about how you go to a barber or to a hairdresser. Like, hey, I saw this picture in this magazine and this picture in this magazine. Can you make my hair look like these? So do a same kind of thing or a similar kind of thing with your kilt outfit, with your style. Figure out the style that you want to emulate and then aim for that.
That actually ties perfectly. I almost forgot to answer the secondary question too, but that's literally how I get my outfits. It's just by honestly consuming and having silhouettes that I enjoy, that I've seen and that I like, and that pairs nicely on this person. It just kind of lives in my brain. This is not like an outfit that you buy somewhere. This is just a sweater that I have. I thrifted it and I like it. But with my more flashy, showy outfits, I love the look of a corset with a mini kilt. I love it. The corsets are also functional for me, so I don't pass out when I'm doing stage shows. But compression garments. Well, they're compression garments, and they help with my blood circulation disorder, holla. So it's nice. But anyway, that's kind of nice. I usually pick pieces up as I go, though. So I'll hit up a festival. Sometimes I'm at Scottish Games and I see a vendor and I like them. That's how I used to find my stuff. Now I get it from USA Kilts. But yeah, I'll find a corset vendor there. I'll like what they have. Find little bags, belts that I could see it working with this thing, and I'll pick them up that way. A good corset place is Corset Story. I definitely have gotten a bunch of corsets off of Corset Story. I think I have 15 from them. So
watch for their sales also.
Watch for their sales. They usually do a 5 for 1. And that's when I'll get my big orders.
That's a lot of corsets.
It's a lot of corsets, but a lot of variety. A lot of, there's the plain black, but then you can get a Wonder Woman style corset. I don't have that one. I should get it, but it's really cool. But anyway, so that's something.
Wonder Woman playing the bagpipes.
Okay. I've done the Wonder Woman theme.
Really?
With Mia.
Okay.
You should come see us on tour. Have we mentioned? We're not doing Wonder Woman, but yeah. So it's fun. I think just have your eye open for things that you like, see the things that you like, and then just go find them.
And you brought up an interesting point of festivals or Ren fairs or wherever you are going. Those places, are a great, mall, if you will, a collection of a bunch of different vendors. So, maybe look at a bunch of different stores while you are there and try to go there specifically with the mindset of, okay, I want to look for the coolest corset that I can find here. I want to look for the coolest insert kilt belt buckle or whatever it is. But shop at those places for those things. Now, be aware, a lot of those things will be cheap And you're going to have at those type of events, you're going to have a mixture of artisans who are physically crafting things themselves, like leather workers and stuff like that. And you're also going to have just like cheap import stuff, some of which is cool, some of which is well made, some of which is really not. So you have to very much have the old buyer beware. If it's too good to be true, it probably is kind of mentality. Protect yourself a little bit as a consumer, but look around those types of events, and you also have the double duty of, if you're supporting the merchant or the merchants at those events, you're then supporting the event to be able to go on the next year. So you can kind of incorporate those things into your look outside of just going to Target and finding a cool sweater or a cool pair of boots or whatever, or thrifting your own sweater and that kind of thing.
The shoes are thrifted too.
Yeah, very nice.
I love a thrift.
I don't know if I could wear thrift shoes. Having someone else's feet in my shoes for a long period of time skews me out of it.
Especially if they're still there when you buy them.
Yeah, no, I definitely done that before. No, I could tell that these ones in particular hadn't been worn a ton. There weren't really scuffs, and like you could see there wasn't like wear on the inside.
Right.
I think a lot of times that's what you're gonna find. Like sometimes they even still have the tags on them and they're in the box. So
fair. That's a different story. But
buyer beware.
Yes.
Is
Indeed.
another situation of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Have your eye out. Look
Cool.
for the deals.
Look for deals.
Look for
and
steals.
support cool companies.
Yeah, that's why I love going particularly to find my costume and outfit pieces at different festivals, is because you can pick out the small businesses and find, like this ring was from a festival. It's one of my favorite rings, but she made it. And I got this instead of getting like a cheap thing at a jewelry store. And some of my favorite pieces are like that, this one as well. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hunt and peck. It's look for cool things. Sometimes there are big companies that have really, really cool kilt pins, like USA Kilts.
Who?
Otherwise, no, it's finding cool small artisans and supporting artisans and craftspeople. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Avoid fast fashion.
Yes, avoid fast fashion.
Fast fashion.
Indeed. Okay,
All
I
right.
think we've beaten that one to death enough. What do we got next?
Indeed. Miss Allie. I'm combining a few questions here. Imagine you're talking to someone who's just getting started playing. They want to know, is it even possible if they can't read music? Number two, what sort of equipment should they get? Can you actually get pipes off of Amazon? And how are they going to have to proceed if they want to go for competition?
Okay.
And I will repeat those points to you later if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we should probably reference our in-house musician. Rocky gave
I
us
threw my tin whistle over there somewhere
It's
earlier.
been tossed. It was chucked, actually, but can you read sheet music?
No.
Okay, well...
I had a book with a bunch of here, cover these holes for these fingers, and that's how you play a song.
As a piper, we memorize all of our music anyway, and bagpipes specifically have a long history of singing. Like, if you're unfamiliar, bagpipes have a language. It's cataract, and you can sing the tunes with the right vowels and syllables to match the embellishments and the theme notes, and it's delightful. It's delightful. It's the language of pibroch, basically.
Got it.
And it was passed down through song instead of sheet music, because a lot of people who were writing these pieces were not musically literate or literate at all. They could not write. And so that's kind of like the history of where the instrument comes from. So I feel like it really is the perfect place for somebody who wants to learn a musical instrument and learn something that doesn't require you to be staring at a sheet of paper and it's like this when you're trying to perform, because I never have sheet music out when I'm performing. It's just you memorize everything, and so if you can skip the step of having to learn the tune on sheet music, that's not really a problem. As a musician outside of the bagpiping realm, I do think knowing how to read sheet music is important, and it's a lovely skill and it's a helpful skill. It takes the pressure off of you really to have to find somebody else to teach you a tune. But I know a lot of very proficient, expert, top level players who either could not or still can't read sheet music in and outside of the bagpiping world, who have a great ear, and that's how they learn, is by ear. For example, all of my TikTok stuff, I learn by ear. I don't like find sheet music and transcribe sheet music, and that's how I do everything. It's a combination usually, and that combination is part of my teaching with the students that I do have is we'll learn by ear, we'll practice ear training, I'll teach them some sheet music because again, it's a valuable skill to be able to self-teach tunes that you want to find, but it's not necessary. If you're wanting to start learning bagpipes, you do not start on a full bagpipe. This is my bagpipe. This is what it looks like. You don't start on a full bagpipe. You actually start on a smaller instrument called a practice chanter, which is kind of reminiscent of the whistle that you played earlier. It has a little plastic reed inside, and that's where you learn all of the tunes, the embellishments, hand posture, and everything before you have to start tackling this multifaceted, multi-reeded instrument on your shoulder. Bagpipes are very unique in that way, where you start on one instrument and kind of graduate to the next. And so you would want to look for a nice practice chanter. You can probably find some decent practice chanters on Amazon if you really want to, or you can look up bagpipe retailers like bagpipe practice chanter. Anything with a Mick in front of it is usually a good sign. McCallum, McClellan, G1, Henderson, if it's a Scottish looking last name.
R.G. Hardy's or
R.G. Hardy's.
Right.
But any practice chanter will really do. It's a lot more forgiving than a whole bagpipe, but please do not buy a bagpipe. Please do not buy a bagpipe on Amazon.
So what kind of for someone who's getting started and wants to buy a chanter?
Yes.
Okay.
A practice chanter.
What should they expect to spend? Now, if you buy a cheap practice chanter, it's going to sound bad.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily. I think one of my favorite practice chanters to play is the first one that I ever got. It's my beginner practice chanter. I've had it since I started 13 years ago.
Now, what was the price of that?
$50.
Okay. There are much less expensive ones.
I think the average low-end practice chanter that you can purchase is around, now in 2023, $50-$60.
I'm talking imported as in, like made in Pakistan, made in China.
$20,
Yeah,
$15
like
ones.
really cheap ones that are going to sound
Gotcha.
yeah, no matter what you do with them.
Yeah, I would look for not a wooden chanter. If it's a wooden chanter and it's $50, then it's a piece of firewood.
Garbage. Yeah.
Or garbage. But we like to repurpose. If it doesn't have any weird varnishes on it, it can be firewood. So reduce, reuse, recycle. Please don't burn instruments. But yeah, usually decent practice chanters are actually a synthetic material. I would check out g1reeds.com. They have a pretty inexpensive practice chanter, and that's what I usually recommend to people. But yeah, you can get McCallum, McClellan, Hardy, Henderson. They all have plastic practice
chanters.
That'll be decent quality. They're really durable. Great for kids too. You drop them, they're not going to break. So
Yeah.
my black beginner practice chanter was tossed out of a cab in Scotland and survived. But you can also get higher quality ones.
I have questions about why a practice chanter was tossed out of a cab, but I'll leave that.
We love World's Week. It's a crazy time for sure. Somebody else found it and they identified it because it had a sticker on it, and they were like, I know whose that is.
Oh, nice.
So I got my chanter back, and I still play it all the time. And then there's my more showy chanter that I'll play like in stage shows. That one's the Maverick chanter. It's a very high quality chanter. It's a little bit like around $200 US, which is still so reasonable for a musical instrument. But that I'll record with sometimes, like it's a good instrument. So that's how much you can expect to spend on a higher quality practice chanter if you're looking for something, you have a little bit of extra money to spend on this hobby or maybe career that you're starting to get into. That's what you can expect to spend on the higher end. And then on the lower end, I wouldn't get anything maybe less than $50. That's usually a bad sign. I think the decent retailers in the market, that's the lower end of what they'll offer.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's good to give people a baseline of what they should expect, and that goes back to the if it's too good, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So yeah, just people need to know about where to start and where to start looking.
I do just want to briefly add with bagpipes. You can find some definite steals in terms of like reselling and things like that in secondary instruments, but if it's less than $900, it's probably not real. And I mean that in terms of like it might be a stolen photo, you know, as if you have any experience with that. But yeah, so if the price is really low and it looks like a real, you know, visually, oh, that looks like a bagpipe that I've seen people play, I would double check on that and do a little bit of buyer beware. Yeah. But an average decent bagpipe that will get you sound and won't fall apart on you, and it will work and you can get a good tune out of it, will probably be about $1,000 US. That would be like a starting
point. Yeah.
I have a great set of bagpipes that I played in the Worlds. That's around what they were, I think 1,300. And then I have some that are valued much higher. And then I have some, I think the set that I play is around there as well. So they're not going to be bad bagpipes, but if it's $100 on Amazon or $300 for a kit on Amazon, it won't work. And you should just save your money and put that into a practice channel and a few lessons. So.
Yeah, there's actually a whole, I've seen YouTube videos of musicians / tinkerers, if you will, who specifically go out and buy like the $100 set of bagpipes, the $50 set of bagpipes made, you know, overseas, and then try to make them sound good.
I was thinking about doing that, but
yeah.
I also don't want to support it.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of patience, and fine-tuning to make something sound reasonable even.
Or even function sometimes.
Yeah. So ultimately, if you're going to do this, or no matter what you're doing, generally in life, you know, buy it from a reputable vendor and vet the company that you're buying from. Because if it looks bad and they have a ton of, or if it looks good but they have a ton of horrible reviews, either, you know, through Yelp or the Google reviews or whatever, all the people are saying like, this is not what it said it was, it's a ripoff, don't do it, you should probably listen at some point, unless you want to waste your money. Godspeed, good luck. I don't have money to waste. Do you have money to waste?
Only on very specific things. I'll waste it though.
Fair. But don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You know, get the right thing for the right job.
And I've noticed as well, I think there must be just I know there's fakes everywhere, but must be something within the community too. There's a lot of, I get it all the time. People tag me in their fake kilt shop posts. Like I get tagged in a lot of like posts from kilt shops that are selling kilts for like $20. If you're getting a kilt for $20, it's not I did one time buy a kilt off of Amazon. It was an emergency, and it's a piece of garbage. I'll tell you, it's nasty. I should bring it sometime and you can look at it just for fun. But there are a lot of people out there who are trying to capitalize off of people wanting to be involved in the culture, and they'll spam you and, you know, with these really crappy products for a low price and kind of like give you a false sense of security. But the fast fashion of bagpiping and kilts is horrific.
Yeah.
Like with fast fashion, you can at least wear the shirt. You know what I mean? Like this is not that situation. It's a scam.
Now, when they're tagging you in the videos, I'm curious: are they tagging you, or are they hashtags, and are they trying to do it? In my opinion would be they're probably trying to do it just so that it gets more, you know, views on the post or whatever, which is kind of a shitty thing to do anyway. To utilize someone else's brand for your own, you know, exploitive purposes.
There's on Instagram, if you're not familiar, there's a tab where you can see tagged posts. And so for influencers, that's usually where you'll find their friends who've tagged them in posts on their own pages, and that's where you'll find collaborative things that they've done, and they'll be tagged. It's on a separate section, so anybody can tag me in a post, and in that way it can still show up on my profile.
That is so bad.
Because all of my followers can go see it. And you know, if somebody tags me in a video, let's say it's on TikTok, if somebody searches at piper.alley on TikTok, it's going to come up with my videos, of course. They're going to be there, but it's also going to come up with everybody who tags me in their mentions. And so when they're using my name, when they're using my likeness or things of that sort, whether I want it to or not, that can get pushed out to my audience, which is unfortunate. And I actually very heavily watch my mentions, especially on Instagram, Because I get a lot of kilt ones, kilt shop.
Oh,
ones.
I know. Oh no, the number of companies that contact us from Pakistan specifically, like, hey, we can make kilts for you, and you need to do this. We partner with you on this. It's like, no, just leave me alone. You do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. Are you able to untag yourself?
On Instagram, I am.
Okay.
On Instagram, I'm able to remove the tag, but I can't remove mention. So if they mention me in their caption,
Right.
I can remove the tag. It won't show up on my profile, but I can't remove the fact that they've used my name. I could ask them to take it down, but I can't remove mentions usually, just the actual tag and the fact that it shows up on my page.
Yeah, I hate unscrupulous business practices. Frassen, build your own thing, people. Mr. Eric, you have a
I'm just
point
starting to
bring
go
in.
asleep back here. You guys keep talking and
I
We are
know.
talking and
Babble
talking.
City.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know.
Allie, I'm gonna cut this short real fast. I have several people asking more questions about equipment, types of pipes, the pipes that you play on most of your videos. Just one word answer. What are the pipes we see you playing in most of your videos?
McClellan
McClellan?
bagpipes.
Are those the 1945 one
No.
or the 1940s ones? Okay, those are special. You save those.
Yes.
But they're not poly, right? They're wood.
My vintage pipes are.
No, the ones you play on your videos.
They are Durlin.
Durham.
So they are
Okay.
synthetic. They're
Okay.
they're what I call my tour pipes.
Okay.
They're what I
one
travel
of the
with.
viewers was wondering that. For anybody who doesn't know, Allie is doing YouTube videos, and one of the content pillars she's got is some basic how-to stuff and tech geek talk stuff about the bagpipes and how to play and what the world out there, the world of bagpipes, is like. So be sure to check her longer form content on YouTube as well as her stuff on TikTok and stuff, because she is doing some deep dives. And while I'm on that, some of the topics that you guys were just discussing, I'd like to remind folks that we also did one of our haggis hunting podcast interview type discussions with Allie, and that will be published in the next couple of weeks. So if you want some other views on what it's like to be an entrepreneur and to be a media creator,
Yep.
I got these guys to put their brains together and give us some answers on that. So look for that in the near future. Here's a social bagpiping question from Frank Sheem. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing. What do you think of pipe bands that have no family or regional connection to Scotland, especially bands in the diaspora like Germany? Do you see them more as caricatures trying to imitate the Scottish bands, or is it not a question of origin or relation to Scotland, but of understanding and respecting the culture?
The end of that there is 100% my answer. I think this
Okay.
ties into Highland wearing everything, the entire thing. But when I was at the Worlds I think it was 2014, one of the times that I went to the Worlds, I remember very clearly that the band that won grade 2, which is on the higher end of the levels, it only goes up to grade 1 for bands. The band that won the grade 2 was a French band. Very cool.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Were they Breton?
No, they were Highland bagpipers.
Oh, but they weren't from Breton.
It was.
Britain,
I don't know.
Brittany.
I
Yeah.
don't.
Brittany, yeah.
I don't know where this particular band was
Okay.
from. I just knew
Just
they
curious.
were a French band.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name. It was a long time ago, and I wish I got more info on it then. But I just saw them playing off, and I was like, oh, a French band won. But yeah, usually, I mean, some of the top bands in the world are Canadian, American, Northern Ireland, France, Germany. There was a band from South Africa. I remember competing in the World Pipe Band Championships. So it's definitely more so, are you doing okay? Like, are you playing okay? Then we don't care where you're from. You're going to do great, you know? We won the Worlds as a youth band, and we were from America and Scotland. And so I think, you know, the training is the training. The music is the music. The instrument is the instrument. And where you're from, it doesn't magically make you allowed or better at what you're doing. So
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways I could go with this. The Scots, generally speaking, are very open about sharing their culture, and for the most part, you're going to find jerks in every culture, but for the most part, the Scots that I know love the fact that there's Americans wearing kilts, or Canadians wearing kilts, or Australians or Germans, like, who connect with their culture. And they've like, wow, like, it's so cool that, it's Scottish culture through the bagpipes, through through music, through kilts, through tartan, has kind of traversed the globe and has like this one little country floating in the middle of the Atlantic. It's had an impact that reverberates around the world.
Yeah.
So there is, and the people that how was explained to me by Sean Vlogs, or Sean Eats America is his YouTube channel now. Americans are much more concerned about offending, or the diaspora is much more concerned about offending people or not offending people than the actual people who should be offended. So the gatekeepers in America of Scottish culture, the people who would tell me like, oh, you shouldn't be wearing a kilt, you're not Scottish, they're generally A, not wearing a kilt, B, they're probably not really that much Scottish either, and C, they're not the ones who matter. It would be, if I cared, it would be the people in Scotland whose opinion would matter to me. And again, generally speaking, they don't care. They love it. They love the fact that we're wearing kilts. So I'm very much of the opinion that it's a good thing. And no, it's not a caricature if you're from Germany and in a pipe band, or you're Australia or South Africa or anything like that. Hey, if the Jamaicans can have a bobsled team, Americans can have a bagpipe band.
And they sure can have a
Yes,
bobsled team, let me tell
absolutely. Cool Runnings has taught us one thing. Thank you, John Candy.
This episode has been sponsored. No, yeah, for sure. I 100% on the same page about all that. I left some sporran hair.
Yes, floating.
It's floating. I touched it. It's balding.
Yes. Do you have any thoughts on the matter, or?
No.
No. Okay.
Eric doesn't think. Eric simply
I
vibes.
act.
Oh,
He exists.
Zen.
Yes, he is in the moment.
we love this.
There is no arrow. There is no target. There is only the chat stream.
There's only the chat stream. What's
As
happening
it flies
over
by
there?
at the speed of an arrow.
Yeah, truth.
Which I think is great. Thank you, everybody who's been watching and chiming in. Keep have to say it. Getting a lot of love for both you guys.
They tolerate us.
I
So
think it's
keep
more
up the
love
good
for you.
work.
They tolerate
A lot of
me.
that.
They
Yep,
love you.
yep. I just think
They like me.
stop being so lazy and get content going. Yeah, I mean, these people are relying on you, Allie, and I'm getting more requests for you to tour in.
Every day.
Yeah, I mean,
post every day of
they
the
want you to
week.
tour in like Texas and Sweden and Germany
I want
and
that
Australia,
too.
and just pack me in your suitcase, please.
Yes.
Okay.
World tour?
Origami. Yes, we're going
Out
on
of the
tour
Piper Radio
together.
USA Kilts?
Yes, exactly.
That would be freaking epic.
We're your opening band.
It'll never happen, but it'd be freaking
I'm
epic.
not paying you, but you're welcome to come.
Sweet.
I'm gonna let you guys get silly for a couple of minutes. Jason Dugan asked, "Do either of you have any fun and memorable quote hold my beer moments? You know, it can be music related or not."
I'm having it right now.
Okay.
Hold it. This is beer.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to.
It's held.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
Hold on. Okay. Hold my beer.
Ready with it,
Now,
yeah.
the are we gonna talk about hold my beer as in I'm drunk and about to do something stupid, so here, hold my beer, or hold my beer as in Psh, I got this, hold my beer, and I'm gonna go do something cool, or do both.
Oh right. Yeah.
It kind of has a dual meaning ish.
Yeah, I think I know it more as like hold
I
my
got
beer,
this, right.
and I'm about to do something unexpected, but
Okay.
like it's impressive. But I definitely have heard it the other way before. So
Okay.
which one?
You
resonates
go
with-
first. Either, both, all. Yes.
Go
now.
Well, if
quick.
we're doing a silly one, then I think when I was in New York and I was on tour with Melinda, this is my favorite story to tell for like a stupid moment. I was like, you know what, guys, let's avoid public transportation in New York City. It's going to take us 40 minutes to travel 2 miles. I will drive us because I brought my car down. I drove myself to New York. I'll drive us to the venue. We'll beat the chaos of the train schedules and bring all our gear on the train. And everybody was like, oh, Ellie, thank you. This was my first time meeting Melinda in person, too, who I've looked up to for a long time and was being able to perform with. And so I was pretty excited to be able to be offering that. So I was like, hold my beer, I got you. I lost my car, though, because it's New York. So I parked my car somewhere and had to move it in very early in the morning because of the time limits you can park on certain parts of the street. And so I moved it in a very sleepy haze and forgot to drop a pin on my phone.
I was gonna say, they make apps.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to drop a pin because it was just early and I didn't remember where her apartment was. And so I got back to the apartment, went back to sleep, and then woke up. And then we had to go later to the venue, and they were standing on the curb with all the gear. And Melinda had my big container of salty pretzels because I brought that with me. Melinda's holding my pretzels and all
Why wouldn't you bring
all
salty
the
pretzel?
instruments and the gear. She's carrying all my trash. And they're standing on the curb, and I'm just zooming back and forth, running through the streets of New York trying to find my Subaru. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I was like, guys, I can't find my car. So we all had to run to the train station. We were like booking it so that we didn't miss the train and we're late to the show. And so that was definitely my like stupid, hold my beer, I got this, and definitely did not have it.
Okay.
And then I couldn't find my car until we got back to New York. So
You did find the car eventually.
I brought it
Okay.
here.
It's still in New York on blocks now.
It is almost.
It's stripped.
Yeah, I
entirely.
was worried that I got towed or something, that I parked wrong, but we had to go to Boston right after that for some shows. And then after Boston, we went back to New York, and that's when I found my car. And it was so close to where I was staying. It was so close to her apartment. It was right around the corner. Like, from her doorstep, I could have tossed like a tennis ball and hit my car. It was that close.
Tell me you walked past it and you realized I had actually walked past it or something when you were looking originally.
I was so stressed out that I don't remember anything. I was so frantic because I was like, I'm gonna let her down. She's gonna hate me. I'm gonna make us late for the show. That was mine.
All right, I have one weirdly similar actually. I just remembered this.
How?
Oh, hold on. Here's how. I went up in the early 2000s. I went up. My one buddy lived. Neil, my tattoo artist, lived up in Benham, Mass. And I was going up in March to go see Dropkick Murphys up in Boston, or in Boston. So yes,
Boston.
Indeed. So I went up to go see them, and he couldn't go, but I took his fiance Nancy, and I'm like, yo, all right, let's go. She's gonna go to the show with me. So we didn't want to try to drive in Boston. I've driven in Boston before. You don't want to drive in Boston. So we got on the T, but we had a few stops out from Boston. Jumped on the T, took the train into Boston. End of the show, came back out. Got off at the wrong stop, thinking it was the stop where my car was parked, and was scared to death because we were walking around a parking lot, it's just a parking garage, so they're all kind of nondescript. So we're walking around oh my God, my car's stolen. We're freaking out for an hour, and I'm like, this is where I'm like, did we park at a different spot? So we eventually got back on the T and went to the next stop and found my car waiting there, unstolen. Unabandoned.
It's the city curse.
It is. It's the damn cities. Yes. Yeah. When you're from the suburbs, the cities scare me.
Cities scare me too, a little bit. I'm gonna perform in a bunch of them. I have to be in them, but they do scare me. Be nice to me.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you'll
let's
get
do
used
the
to it.
other side. The hold my beer where you just kicked ass and took names.
I think the hold my beer, for what I picture, hold my beer, I got this, is probably adding bagpipes to guitar solo, epic, iconic guitar solos, because I feel people aren't expecting that with the guitar bends and the whammy bar and stuff like that. They're not expecting to hear that on the bagpipes, and so it's just oh my God, she did that, and it's very surprising and flashy to them. And I recently had so many of those all in a chunk go viral, and so that is very fresh in my brain. I did
Freebird.
I
Yes.
did Freebird on
She
the
just did
bagpipes.
Freebird twice, once
did-
with the guitar and then once without the guitar,
Yeah.
and that popped off pretty good.
Yeah, it was a weird situation where both of them went viral. One has 2 million views on my TikTok, and then the next one has over 1 million also on my TikTok, and it was the next day. And I usually don't have back-to-back viral videos, but a repost of it also went viral on Twitter, and then another repost of it also went viral on Reddit. And so it's just a lot of people were wow, that was
Nice.
not what I was expecting to hear today.
Now, before you did that, Do you have the gut feel of, yep, I know this is good. I know either leading into the song, like, yes, this song is going to kick ass. This is going to be great. This is going to work. And or after you record the video, like, yes, I nailed it. I got it. It's going to go. And do you post with that confidence? Can you tell what's going to hit and what's not?
From like the many hours I spend researching my analytics, I definitely have a good idea of what's going to perform decently, but the algorithm is really difficult. You can perform really well. You can have a very good video. It can be done well. It can be like everything can fit the boxes and it won't, go viral. But there are some times where you're just like, it can't not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's
I think
so squarely in your alley. Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, no one's played Freebird on the bagpipes before. I've tried to look it up, and I haven't seen anything. I mean, you can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but it was one of those things where I didn't think it was possible until I actually tried it, and I couldn't find anything of people doing it before, and so I was like, oh, it's actually possible. This has viral potential. And I was definitely like, this has the potential to go viral for sure, because it fits into the niche of the other things that I've gotten to go viral, like Through the Fire and Flames. It repeatedly goes viral for me. Carry On My Wayward Son, and Finger Guns for that. And then, so things of that nature, those tend to be the things that get viral potential. And so this one definitely fit into, that has viral potential. But then the video that I posted after, it was Hail to the King by Avenged Sevenfold. Right. I didn't think that was going to go viral, and it did. And then the one
Is there a momentum thing you think at play?
No, there's not, because the video I posted before that did not go viral. Okay. It was Freebird, shipping up to Boston, did not go viral, probably because I was promoting the tour. Yeah. And then Hail to the King did go viral. And then right after that, I did Hallowed Be Thy Name by Iron Maiden. And I felt so good about that one, and it
yes.
Okay, you should go watch the video because I nailed it. I nailed the guitar solo, and I even improv'd over it and made it harder than it needed to be, and I practiced it, and I was like, this has viral potential, and then it kind of more or less flopped.
Right.
Flopped in comparison.
Yeah.
It didn't flop. It still got tens of thousands of views. But it did not get over 1 million views. You know what I mean? So
sorry, my 50,000 view video flopped.
50,000 is great, but when you have 1.4 million followers,
yes, I get it.
And the video before it's over 1 million, you hope.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah, but that was just that's kind of the example. I had the feeling. I was like, this could happen. This could be the one, and then it was, and I was like, I knew it.
Yeah.
But I don't always know it.
See, I had a weird, hold my beer one, but I'll kind of jump off of yours. There are certain things where I have that same gut feel of a question we're going to answer on the show, or my hot take on something, or even when we're answering questions, if I'm doing an answer the way it's in my brain and it's coming out the right way, unlike me speaking right now, where I'm tripping over words, but when I nail it, I feel like I nail it, and you're just like, yes, this is going to be good. So I get that same kind of thing. So sometimes. I don't know if it's fully a hold my beer, I got this, cocky going into it, but as you're doing it, I know when it's going to work. I've had that feeling about certain products on occasion.
That makes sense.
We design something or design a tartan, and it's just like, yeah. Well, yeah.
Did you have that feeling with the Kilts and Culture tartan?
I did, and I didn't, and I did. When I designed the Kilts and Culture tartan, I had 4 versions. One with more basically they're all very, very similar to that. Yeah. But one where it was more reds and no gold. Then one with golds but no red.
Interesting.
And then and one other one, and then this.
I love it.
And I remember do market research, asking 5 people, what they think of it. And I think we asked the mods in our Facebook group. And I kind of went around hey, what do you think of these 4? Which one's your favorite? What's your gut?
Yeah.
And most of the people went to that one because it was a little bit more balanced, had a little bit more interest. And I was just like, yeah. And the more I looked at it, the more I'm like, yep, it feels right. That's the one. And then we did it, and it's done very, very well. Yeah. And I came across the original 4 square file of like the 4 tartans side by side, and I'm looking at them like, ugh, what was I thinking? Nope, this was definitely the one. Yeah. And now it all the others felt like something completely different, and this is what it was meant to be the whole time.
That's so interesting. Yeah, it like solidifies it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I was just curious. Yeah. I'm sorry to like interject, but I was curious. I just have a question. Did you know that the kind of like the tartan game that you guys have been doing on TikTok would pick up and have some virality?
Which tartan game?
The one that went really viral. The one where
name your favorite this, name your favorite that.
This for that. Like I think you had done a Valentine's Day, like tartans for Valentine's Day. You started like a little, not a game, but like a
pillar.
A pillar or like a theme.
Yeah.
And so
Vox Pop.
Huh?
Vox Pop.
Vox Pop.
Yeah, when you go around and ask people in your group a question like that, it's usually called Vox Pop.
Gotcha. But yeah, the one that you had done.
The one that went crazy.
That went crazy viral. Did you ever think like when you were making that? That's
No.
usually I mean when I started making videos and the first one started to pop off, they were definitely like random, and I was like, oh, I guess people like that. But I was just curious if you had that feeling like,
no, not
this
at
is
all.
a great video.
No, not our strategy for TikTok. In fairness to Matt, who's not here today, but he's out there somewhere. Matt is our one of our Max, the guy who's kind of helped our TikTok along, one of our videographers in house. Yeah. We've just kind of had our strategy meeting for TikTok was, hey, let's do a bunch of shit and throw it against the wall and see what sticks. So let's try a bunch of different things and then learn from what is working and not working.
I dig it.
And we knew that it was a different platform, so we had to do different stuff than we do on Facebook or on YouTube or on IG.
Yeah,
so,
it's a weird place.
Yes. So no, we had no idea that particular one was going to go the way it did. The one that I'm here, patting myself on the back a little bit. The Jace's Faces, where we make our one of our store associates, Jace, make him drink scotch. We were at Celtic Classic, and for us, when we do a festival, scotch is medicinal. Scotch whiskey. So we have to, at the end of the evening, after the crowds are dying down a little bit, your feet are killing you, your ankles are killing you, your knees are killing you. So I, get a good bottle of scotch and, give it around to all the employees. And I was like, Jace, here, try this. And he's only like 22 and not a scotch drinker. And I share this moment with him, and it's only a Jason Rocky moment where I handed him the thing of scotch, and I was like, all right, here's how you drink it. So I explained it to him, and he's like, okay. And he drank it, and the face that kid made was pain. I saw pain in his soul. And literally, it was one of those, he was like, it's good. And we were laughing hysterically, and I'm like, I need this on camera. We have to do this. And it was one of those things where I immediately said, I'm like, all right, we're going to do a thing called Jace's Faces. It's going to be a pillar of content. We're going to do this.
That's funny.
And he was like, I'm here for it. Let's go.
And you just knew.
Yes.
You felt it in your gut.
I felt that it would work.
Yeah.
And others were kind of like, I don't know. It's a little schadenfreude. You're kind of making fun of it a little bit. Or I don't know if he's going to want to do it. And I was like, nope, it's going to work.
It's going to work.
He said it's okay. He said he'd do it. Let's do it. And it's kind of ticked off more than I thought it would have. Pleasantly surprised.
It's a good feeling when you're like, I know something.
Yes.
I'm doing a little bit.
It's fun exploring it and seeing what works and what's not going to work.
100%. It's part of the game.
Absolutely. Yes, that's the fun bit. All right.
Eric, what's up?
We have
what's in the chat?
one more. Or did you want to add something?
I'd like to help you guys wrap it up.
Sure.
Number one, a little bit of housekeeping. Allie, you will be performing in New York Tartan Day weekend, correct? Mm-hmm. What is the venue and what's the time of the concert for those who want to go after the parade?
Les Poissons Rouges, LPR. And I believe I think it's doors at 6 and then show at 7, or it's doors at 7. But 7 o'clock, be interested in that. All the info on that is on my link tree. Cool. We're doing so many cities and they all have a different start time.
Understood.
But it is it's the Saturday of Tartan weekend.
We will be in the parade and joining you afterwards. Looking forward to it.
I will be wearing one of my USA kilts.
Aww.
It might be this one, but it might be the Sterling. I don't know yet.
Cool. Whichever one's clean.
Whichever one is cleanest by that point, because they're all both coming on
They're
tour.
all clean. What are you talking about? And I'd like to. We're going to go over time with this answer, but I'd like to ask you guys a question of my own. What would you both like to see happen in the next, say, 5 years in the Celtic music scene? What would make you happy?
Celtic music scene.
Yeah, in the Celtic Gaelic music scene, what would you be happy to see happen?
Are you thinking like Celtic slash
Any of
music
that,
scene?
yeah.
Like just the Celtic and the heritage and music scene, I think, is what they're asking.
Heritage and music scene, or just music?
Music.
Just music. Okay,
Yeah.
never mind, I was wrong.
Then you go first.
Okay. I would like to see bagpipe representation in not only traditional ways. I would like to see more bagpipers starting to get platforms as musicians. Bagpipes have always had their place on social media as kind of like a joke. And I would like to see more people showcasing. We all have the ability on our phones to start posting social media content. And if people are up for it, I would love to start seeing some more bagpipers playing well and playing their hearts out and sharing their passion for the instrument and trying to do good for the instrument and the culture, sharing that on social media. Because I want friends. I want friends.
I will point something out that it's almost, it's not uniquely a music thing, but it is very, very apparent to me in music. Just because one musician is winning or popping off, it doesn't mean that others aren't or can't or shouldn't. So there's room for all of that kind of stuff. Like whether a space is crowded or not. If just because you're doing well in music doesn't mean that Susie Q bagpipe lady can't do well doing a different type of thing or doing the same type of thing. Mm-hmm. So music is this weird and wonderful space where people are experiencing a thing that because you're winning doesn't mean someone else is losing. It's not a win-loss game. It can be a win-win game. It doesn't have to be a net zero. It can be net positive and all just kind of go together and mesh.
Yes, my creator friends and I talk about that all the time, about how, yes, we have a similar niche, like me and Mia, but we're not competitors. We're not competitors.
Yeah.
We could both have a video go viral on the same day. There's so many people in this world, so many people that art is not a competition, that culture is not a competition. And especially in the Celtic world, the roots of that is collaboration. The roots of Celtic music is like session style playing and group playing, and I would love the social media realm to kind of like match that a little bit in terms of the roots and grow a little bit. I don't want to be the only bagpiper going viral on TikTok playing music. You know what I mean? I want to see other people kind of showcase their musical side as well. So that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, just to belabor the point, because I always do, just because you like Dropkick Murphys doesn't mean you can't like Flogging Molly or you don't like them as much. You can have both CDs. You can have both of those and a classic Beethoven CD as well as a Piper Alley CD.
Please get one, by the way.
Yes, exactly. But you can like all of these things. You can like ska music and rockabilly music and oi music and punk music and metal music and Celtic music. You can like different things. It's okay. And the more of those types of things you like and you enjoy and you talk about and you purchase music from, the more you're supporting all these communities. What I want to see is more collaborations and broadening things. I love having musical purity for musical purity's sake, meaning like traditional bagpipe music. But I also like seeing like people playing with it, and I like different interpretations. One of my like weirdest bugaboos is like I love Johnny Cash. I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. And some of the stuff I like most of his were the cover stuff that he did towards the end of his life. My buddy Steve had this weird, like this horribly weird phrase when he's like, the first time I listened to Johnny Cash's American recordings, it sounded like somebody basically went up and said, "Hey Johnny, you mind singing these songs before you die?" Because he was just an old man at that point. But it's when you listen to like Johnny Cash's version of Trent Reznor's Hurt, it's a whole different song. When you listen to, Johnny Cash with, Tom Petty's Heartbreakers and like all these different songs that he did covering other artists and doing other things and collaborating with different people, That is the interesting thing. That's what gets people into it. I love back to the Judgment Night soundtrack, where it was all these rock and rap artists, going together for one song for different tracks on the album. It was a weirdly seminal piece of album for me. So I love watching the crossover stuff. I love watching the collaboration stuff. The fusion, yes. I want to see more of that. That's where I want to see it go. Celtic music infused, taking over the world.
I want that too. Let's do it.
Yes.
We're doing it.
But better than me playing a tin whistle. It kind of has to be. It's a pretty low bar.
I would say the bar is on the floor, but the whistle's on the
Dude,
floor.
that bar is actually a line painted on the concrete. That is how low the bar is for you to walk over for that. Yes, indeed.
Wow.
All right.
Good goals. Good chat.
Question of the day. I'm kind of springing this. We usually do a question of the day. If you'd like to ask it, I can ask it. I have another one if you want me to, if you're scared because I'm throwing it at you. You want me to ask?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. Question of the day. What song or collaborator do you want to see her do, or who do you want to see her collaborate with?
That's a good question.
I know it is. That's
Thank
why I
you
asked
for
it.
thinking
That's
of
why
that.
they pay me the big bucks.
Yeah. Answer that question.
Yes. Seriously, I want to know. We want to build collaborations. We want to have more people doing more stuff. She was tagged in freaking Metallica tagged her and did all
true.
kinds of stuff. I want to know from you guys, who do you want her to collaborate with, and what songs do you want her to put the bagpipes on? Let us know in the comments. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Until next time, boys and girls, Slanjava.
Bye.